Welcome back to Accounting Space. In this video, I want to look at a question on the general ledger. So we are going to go through the question that we have on question 6 of this question paper. So our question reads, Nick Outfitters is a retail business which uses markup of 25% on cost at all times. The business uses the periodic inventory system. So on the required part, I refer to the ledger account given below and answer the questions. We're given a general ledger of Nick Outfitters, balance sheet account section, whereby we have got the creditors account. So you can just try to see in terms of the debit side of this creditors control account and the credit side. So I believe that we have got the questions that reads 6.1, calculate the amount owing by Nick Outfitters on 1 June 2016. So it see that 1 June 2016 is at the end of the period that we are given in this case. So basically, what is going to happen, we are going to just balance the account that we have here. So obviously, we need to know the total of the debit and the total of the credit side. But obviously, the question is saying calculate the amount owing by Nick Outfitters on 1 June 2016. As we are seeing that this is the creditors control. So obviously, Nick Outfitters is the owner of the business. So obviously, we are going to have a balanced BT on the credit side to indicate that Nick Outfitters is owing. So in this case, we can start by adding the total that we have on the debit side. So on the debit side, we've got 8,250, we add 200, we add 340, we add 676. So you see that the total that we get on the credit side is going to be 9,466. So we have 9,466 as our total of the credit side. And then on total of the debit side, sorry. Then on the credit side, we're going to add 39,654. We add 50,200. We add 500 to get the total. So the total that we get there becomes 55,345. So in that case, we need to find the difference between these two totals so that we can see the balancing figure, which is going to be the balance CD or the debit. Obviously, on the debit, that's where we've got the smaller total. So that's where we're going to have our balance CD. Then our BD will come on the credit side to indicate the amount that is being owed. So if we say 55,000, so obviously we're going to say 55,345, and then we subtract 9,466. The difference that you are going to get there becomes 45,888. So this becomes our balance CD and BD at the end of the period that is on 1 June 2016 and becomes the amount that Nick Outfitters owes on 1 June 2016. So basically, this is the answer that we have in terms of 6.1. So going forward, we have got 6.2. So 6.2 reads, how do you, as the bookkeeper, verify this balance? So obviously, the balance that is being asked is the balance that we got on 6.1, which is 45,888. So the question is asking how do we verify it? Of course, this is the balance that Nick Outfitters owes the creditors at the end of the period, that is on 1 June 2016. So obviously, to verify it, we are saying how do we see that it is a correct figure? Obviously, we compare it with the balance of the creditors list. The total of the creditors list should be equal to this final balance that we have in the creditors control. So that's how we verify it. So obviously we can just present it in our other section by saying, of course, this is our 6.2. So we are saying this balance must be equal to the creditors list the creditors list basically is the list which shows the outstanding balance of each creditor's total as at the end of the period. So basically, that's what we have. So we must just verify it uh, by the creditors list total. Obviously, it has to be the creditors list total. So that's how best we can verify that amount that we have there. So the next question is set the following references for the following control accounts. We've got total allowances. So obviously the following references we are referring to this column that we have here on the debit and credit side. So total allowances we have total allowances here, and obviously this represents the journal or the book of original entry that we are supposed to make a reference. So for total allowances, we get the information in this regard. We have got the creditors control, so it has to be the creditors allowance journal. So basically here we are saying creditors allowance journal 1 is indicated here. There is a code of 1 that we have. So you're saying CAJ 1. So that's what we have. So here we have a 1 to indicate that this is our total allowances for your reference. So our standard account, we have a standard account on the credit side, and of course, we are supposed to fill in terms of the follow reference in this column. So for standard accounts, we get it from the general journal. So we say general journal, and of course, we've got a code of 1 that we are supposed to have. So this is our response on that part. We go to the next question. Name the control account for the amount of 15,200 on the credit side of the account. So if you go to the credit side of the account, 15,200, we'll try to see where do we have that amount. So 15,200, we have it here. So the question is asking us of what name of account should we put on 15,200. But we check in terms of the follow reference. This is the creditors journal. So obviously, the information that we take from the creditors journal is the total purchases information. So 6.4, we are saying total purchases. So this is what we have on that part. We move on to the next section, whereby we are going to, let's just try to see what we have in terms of the next question that we have. So the next question is 6.5. It is name the control account for the amount of 200 rands for the debit side of the account. So we go to the debit side, we see that on the debit side, 200, we have 200 on that part. And of course, we are supposed to put the details in terms of the name of account that can be 200. So 200, of course, we've got a general journal. So what can we say about this 200? So you'll see that in terms of 200, it can be, since it's on the debit side, obviously it's going to reduce the amount of total purchases that we have on the credit side. So it can be a journal debit. So we can just indicate it as a journal debit. So 6.5, 6.5, we are saying journal debit. So we move on to the next question. So our next question is describe one transaction that could possibly give rise to the entry of 676 on the debit side of the account. So 676, we try to see, we have got 676 and it's referred to as a sundry account. So the question requires us to describe one transaction that could possibly give rise to the entry. So we can see that we can just try to see it's on the debit side again. And if it's on the debit side, how best can we regard that? Obviously, if it's a sundry, it means it's just an entry that we cannot broadly classify. So in this case now, it can be a correction of an error. It might be an error that maybe we overstated the purchases on the credit side, and we are correcting to reduce the figure for purchase that we have on the credit side by debiting as a correction. So it becomes a sundry account. So that can be a reason. So we are saying correction of errors that is on 6.6. So we can say correction of errors. So we go to the next question. It's saying, state the source document for the following credit entries. 15,200, we try to see. We have 15,200 is, we said, is creditors don't know our total purchases. So what are the source document for our total purchases? Obviously, we take that information from the invoices. Remember, when we purchase goods, we can purchase by using cash, which is represented by bank, or we can borrow, which means invoices are supposed to be created whenever there's borrowing that is taking place. So the invoice becomes the source document. So we have original invoice as our response. So we go to the second part. We've got 500 source document of 500. It's here. It's a sundry account that we have on the credit side. So which source document can we regard to that? It can be a journal of voucher. So we can just indicate as a journal of voucher. So, and this becomes the last question that we have on this question. So we have a total of 16 marks that we have on this question on general ledger. So thank you for listening, and we'll meet again in the next video.